Hello, Suresh.
Hey, Leon.
Hey, there's something that's bothering me. I've got a question for you, a very important question.
Shoot.
I ask myself that question every day, but I'm going to put it to you now. Are you a 2 or 3 a day?
Of what?
Of the most important commodity we can drink. Coffee.
Coffee?
Yes.
Okay. So I have to say right now, I used to be a 3 or 4, right? So right now, I'm more like a 2 kopi sutai and 1 teh sutai per day.
And what's stopping you from retaining that 3 or 4?
Well, it's more on a health reason wise, right? So cutting down on coffee, not having too much coffee.
Yeah.
Probably more on that side. But you know what, Leon? Lately, it's a bit on the cost as well.
Okay. And why don't you go on 0 cup a day?
Well, I think coffee is that one of those things that I think that everyone needs that pick me up, and I think it's just ingrained into it. I'm not sure whether it's a Singapore thing, but I really think it's a Singapore thing, Malaysia thing. You know, I live in Indonesia, so I think it's also an Indonesia thing, right? It's one thing that got to do. I mean, so many people have to start the day with a coffee, right? It's ingrained into you. It's like drinking water, right? You know, you can. I've started many days without breakfast, but not without coffee.
Yeah, for sure.
So where's this question coming from, Leon? I mean, what's inkling?
What's inkling? I mean, I am a 2 cup a day person, right? And
Okay.
my first cup must come within 30 minutes of waking up from bed.
Wow,
Right.
very structured.
Very structured. Yes, I wake up maybe 7:15 every morning. I feed my little dog at home. And then while I wait for him to digest his food before walking him, I come to the coffee shop, which is not far from where we are now.
Right.
Just 10 meters, 20 meters across from where we are sitting.
So that's your first cup. That's
the
where the first cup,
That's
right?
cup
Okay.
number 1. So that's $1.40 per cup. It used to be a bit lower, like
Right.
$1.30, and of course it used to be $1.20 maybe 6 months before then, and it was cheaper, right?
Sure.
So me and my wife, we come over here, 2 cups. That's $2.80, almost $3, and some people say you can get a meal for $3.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm one of those some people.
Yeah. Well, so, but you know, this question of coffee is very interesting. So you mentioned, for example, the health implications of drinking too much coffee. That's why you've tried to keep within 1 or 2 or 2 or 3.
Yeah. Mainly because of the sugar, right? So
Yeah, mainly
if I did a kopi o kosong,
Yeah.
right, which I've tried and I can't stomach it.
Yeah. But the thing is, coffee can be very affordable and can be very expensive, right?
Right.
At its very affordable sense, you can get, you know, one of those 2-in-1, 3-in-1. You do it at home. I believe one packet will set you back maybe 50 cents or something.
Yep.
Yep. Okay, it doesn't quite have the same pick-me-up effect. I find maybe it's psychological. I don't know
Right.
whether you think it's the same way.
Okay.
So 50, 60 cents, maybe that's one way to sort of like have your daily Joe and still not have a big hole burning in your pockets. And then of course you have those cafes. We see a lot of those chain coffee cafes as well, right? That sells a cup for easily $5 or $6.
Yeah. So what you're saying is a single-use coffee,
It's a
right?
single-use
so
coffee,
obviously, guys, the coffee market is huge, segmented, everything else. So we don't talk about single-use coffee. Everyone has done it. If you're 3-in-1s, right? So recently I got some gifts bacha, right? Okay. So and we used to give this bacha because of this packaging, nice packaging for Chinese New Year to a lot of people, right? And I started using it and everything else. I got 2 boxes at home. But Leon, you're right. After some time, it doesn't give you the kick, right?
You're almost immune to it.
It's exactly. It's more immune to it. So it always gets to me that, you know, after some time I'm still taking the stairs down, going to my coffee shop like how you do. But of course a bit later than you, right? I don't have that structure, right? Around 7:15 kind of thing. But getting to the coffee and it just sticks to you, right? You know, someone says, you know what, the things that are around your palate is the most sensitive. You're very unlikely for you to change, and I think that's what stuck to us.
Actually, something just reminded me of my my trips to Indonesia, because you mentioned you lived in Indonesia before,
Right.
did you?
Yes. 3 years.
3 years. Okay,
Yeah.
for 3 years. Wow, that's a long time. But most expensive cups of coffee that I've ever had in my life was in Indonesia, kopi luwak.
Kopi luwak, yeah.
Coffee.
Yeah.
What, $20 or $25 per cup?
Right.
Even then, you don't know whether it's the authentic one.
Yes.
It did taste very smooth.
Yes.
Maybe that's indicative of having gone through the digestive tract
of the civet cat. For all the uninitiated, yes. It's the coffee beans picked in very hard places by this civet cat. It comes through his poop. They clean the poop and then do the whole coffee bean process and everything else, and goes into your mouth. I'm not a big fan of it. I tried it. I just tried it once.
Okay, you did.
In this very famous place. But I couldn't see or feel the allure of it. Compared to the price.
Okay. But it's in a way heartening to know if you're a coffee person, if you love your daily Joe, there's something for everybody regardless of what your budget is, right? If you only can spend $1 a day, maybe 3 in 1. Right. If you've got unlimited budget, you can have like 5 or 6 cups of kopi luwak a day.
Right. I mean, you don't have to go to unlimited budget. I can tell you, I got a group of people that I know of. They are what I call Starbucks. Okay. They can't do without their Starbucks, right? As you know, before COVID, after COVID, right? There's a big ripple on to the prices, right? And I can still remember vaguely, Starbucks was at that point of time $5 plus and something like that for a normal grande and everything else. And then after COVID, supply chain issues, at least that's what they tell, and then goes to $6.50. And now we're talking about Starbucks normal coffee that I used to go for, $7.70, right? $7.70, whereabouts there, right? Some people cannot do without their Starbucks.
Yes, and by and large, I think people here cannot do without their coffee. Coffee is by and large what we call price inelastic.
Yes.
When they go from say 130 to 140, 10 cents increase, everybody complains, but everybody still queues up to buy that cup of coffee at the new price. Right. It's something coffee drinkers cannot do without. They'll get withdrawal symptoms, they'll foam at the mouth maybe without coffee.
So that's interesting. So comes me to think, Leon, what essentially goes with your coffee?
I don't know. I'm not into the coffee supply chain, but maybe you can tell me more.
Well, I think if I'm just looking for a normal roast coffee that we get from anywhere or anywhere else, essentially it's a coffee beans, right? And of course water, right? And of course, depending how you take your coffee, the milk, right? Right. I mean, it used to be milk was just one shade of white, right? And right now you have soy milk, non-soy milk. You got low-fat milk. You got skim milk. So again, you got many variations of that. Maybe that's why they like Starbucks, right? You don't get it from your normal coffee shop, do you? Right. So I think, of course, water, right? And those are the elements that I go to. But of course, if you get into your coffee shop, there's a bit of roast. So the roast is already done by pre-roasted. They do a little bit of butter and margarine and things. So I think those are the 5 elements you look at, right? So whenever I see a price going up, right, I'm always asking myself, what has gone up, right? Is it the coffee bean? Right? Is it the water cost? Is it the cost of milk? Right? If you're taking a cafe latte or you're taking a kopi siew-dai, right? So that comes to my mind, right?
A few things do come to my mind. I mean, it won't be just the cost of materials going up, right? Obviously, the salary of the worker doing the coffee for you, that's gone up. The rental of the coffee stall, that's gone up. Right. And talking about the roasted coffee beans, there's actually a shop here selling roasted coffee beans, which is maybe 30 meters from where we are. If you want, we can bring you to buy some later on, right? So we can just have our daily Joe at home as well, maybe save some money in the process. Because we don't have to pay for the cost of the worker.
But it's more than that, right? It's I mean, to me, there's a bit of that. I think a lot of Singaporeans would also feel this way, right? There's this thing about sitting down in a coffee shop, right? Having that feel of just having that someone serving you the hot piping coffee, which you feel at home. You got to go through a bit of logistics to do it, right? And you're willing to pay that $130 or $140 to do it. Wait for the coffee to come to you, and that morning start got to be peaceful.
Yes, correct. The whole world is in a better place.
Yes.
And so just in Singapore, I know in places like Italy, Austria, that people go to have a coffee at a place as more of a social experience.
Correct.
Yeah, they see the same guys every morning. It's a bit like, I see familiar faces at a coffee shop every morning as well, even though I may not necessarily talk to them.
Sure. But
there's something comforting.
Yes, correct. By what cost, right? So that's where we try to get to, right? So for example, you went back to there's a lot of other costs more than the raw materials, of course, your supply chain costs, your labor costs, your rental costs. But let's say what it exactly is, right? So if you look by facts, right? I can only look at my coffee shop, right? Before COVID and after COVID, right? So before COVID it was 110, and after COVID it became 120. And I always say there's this Chinese New Year effect. I'm not sure how many people agree with me. Every time there's a Chinese New Year, the price of coffee is going up, right? And probably because there's no denomination of 5 cents in circulation anymore. So the nearest denomination of circulation is 10 cents, right? So it has to go by minimum 10 cents, right? And everyone thinks 10 cents is small. But if you think about it, right? In 3 years, 30 cents, 110 to 140, right? Leon, I think your coffee shop is around there, 140, a cup of 40,
yes,
right?
It is 140.
30 cents above 110, right? You are faster at maths than me, Leon. How many percent does that translate to?
30%.
30%, roughly 30%. Let's keep it very simple, around 30%. So do you think everything that we talked about is justified, 30%? If you put everything in together, would we say
probably so?
30% in the last 3 years, 4 years?
Probably so. Obviously, people are out there to make money as well. They include the entire cost of the supply chain, increase of supplying the coffee to you, the rental, and they also want to make a bit more money. And I think you put a good point about the lowest denomination of circulation is 10 cents.
Yes,
right?
yes.
I'll put it that way. If they increase by 5 cents, people will complain. When they increase by 10 cents, people complain too. Right? So why do they want to take the hit twice?
I don't know. I don't know. I think it's an easy way out, because I think there's a lot of knock-on effects. That's the word I wanted to find out. Knock-on effects, right? From coffee price going on, right? And like me, I'm a normal Singaporean over here. Your daily Joe, right? When your first thing that you see in the morning suddenly goes up by 10%, you start wondering what else is going up. Is my groceries going up? Is my transport cost going up? Is my clothes going up? Okay, is a plumber coming to my house? Is going to charge my rate by another 10%, right? So why do other services not go up by 30% and coffee goes up by 30%?
I don't know. Maybe because demand is very price inelastic. So if it goes up by 10, 20 cents, people will still drink that cup of coffee because they need it. It doesn't feel like a good day if they're deprived of that cup of coffee.
Yes. Right? But do you think people would feel the same when coffee one day, right? Your coffee shop, your normal coffee shop one day, the price goes to $4, $5.
If it's over a period of, let's say, 10, 15 years, maybe they will, because it gradually goes up and people get used to that new price every time there is an increase. Like we're now used to the price of coffee being 140 at this coffee shop now, right?
Right.
So it just goes up every 6 months, maybe 1 year, maybe post Chinese New Year, as you said, right?
Yeah.
So we're sort of like sensitized to the new norm of pricing, the new baseline.
Right.
So by the time it goes up to $4, do you say? After 20 years, maybe that's about right.
I mean, I think I think before this call we talked about McDonald's using the price of a Big Mac as an indicator, a Big Mac index globally, right? Which means how much money it takes to buy a Big Mac in different countries, right? And I think, what if Singapore had a coffee indicator using the number of cups of that is done more globally, right? I wouldn't know. A coffee indicator to every parts of your life could be something that people can see. Hey, if a coffee price goes up by 10 cents, how much would other parts of your life goes by, right? Would that be a knock-on effect to others? It's just an idea out there, right?
Food for thoughts, yeah.
So I think guys, we talked a lot about coffee today. We talked about a little bit. We don't have solutions for everything else. There are more questions and more questions. But
we only have questions.
But I think one thing I'm going to do probably, and I think if we progress this more into a podcast to a different thing, is really look at coffee prices going down, milk prices going down. It's easy to get these charts and everything else. We'll find a way to show these charts illustration to you, just for the curious people, for the curious few, right? But other than that, I think what we want to leave you with is a very singular thought, right? What would you think would be the coffee price at a Starbucks in 5 years from now? And what would be a coffee price at a coffee shop 5 years from now?
Well, for Starbucks, I would think $8. What about you?
Starbucks already $8 today, Leon.
Oh, it shows I haven't been to one for a bit.
That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. I reckon given there's no more COVID, because COVID seems to be a very profitable event for some people. Again, I may be wrong because obviously you look at one half of the clock, right? But I think getting a Starbucks in 5 years' time to $14 to $15, doubling what you are right now is easy, right? And I would say the same thing for the coffee in a coffee shop, right? Anything doubling in 5 years, it's quite doable. Trust me, that, right? So that's my guess. So we are waiting for your guess. We'll find a way how to get some of this, participation in Leon along the way. But just think about it, right?
Yeah.
Just think about it.
Well, it's a very depressing thought, but think about it. Yeah. Your daily Joe is going to go up by X amount. How would that make you feel?
Yeah. Okay. With that, this is Suresh and Leon signing off.
So on a very depressing note.
Yeah, and have a great day.